Okay. All right. So today is our last session on Learning Unit 2. Okay. Today is our last session on Learning Unit 2. All right. And the last thing that we did was look at this table 4.1. That was the last thing that we did. Can you guys see? Is it possible to zoom in? Okay. Right. So this was the last thing that we did. Actually, this looks rather distorted. Okay. Okay, so now we're basically touching on managing knowledge management solutions. Okay. And this is kind of revisiting what we have already spoken about. So the first thing worth highlighting here is that organizations should use a combination of the 4 processes that we were looking at just yesterday. Okay. And why do we use knowledge application? Because it enables efficiencies. Now we're seeing the end result of obviously applying those processes. Does that make sense? Okay. And we obviously want efficiencies within the business. Okay. This is something that we would desire as people running the business. We want to convert tacit to explicit knowledge, all right, via capturing, because we now know we are, for lack of a better term, capturing this knowledge that is obviously just often just observed, okay, so that we can more easily pass it on to people within the business. Then we have knowledge sharing. We want to enable efficiency by reducing redundancy, okay, reducing redundancy. In other words, having several different platforms that are containing the same information. We'd rather just have an efficient knowledge sharing platform. For instance, we're all using Teams as opposed to someone using Teams, someone using OneDrive, another one using the Google Drive, you see. So yeah, that's how we are reducing redundancies there. Then when it comes to knowledge discovery, remember we said when we say knowledge discovery, we're saying that we now have new knowledge as a result thereof, okay? So that obviously is going to enable innovation, all right? Will enable innovation. And the last important thing on this particular slide is that knowledge management processes and systems should be considered in light of each other. They serve complementary objectives. Okay, right. That much I think we are very, very much aware of from what we did yesterday. Because remember, we started with the processes, and then we realized when we're talking about the systems, it's literally just us removing the word process and throwing on systems. And we saw that we were basically talking to the exact same thing. And we also understood that when we say systems, we were now just saying, okay, what are the things that we put in place in order to enable these processes within the business? Okay, all right. Then here, knowledge management and business strategy. Okay, knowledge management obviously enhances organizational performance. All right, and that is obviously something that as a business, we want that. We want to enhance performance. And this is why we take the time to say, how then can we gain knowledge? How then can we store the knowledge, capture it, right? And then how can we share it, make it accessible to our staff, all right? And then how do we best apply this knowledge? Because we know that it's going to bring performance, okay? It's going to bring performance. So that's the key thing that they're obviously just over there. And then this is just kind of pushing us to review that which we have learned thus far. Okay, now learning outcome number 8. It says discuss the value and impact of people, processes, products in organizational knowledge and information processes. I feel like here they're now bringing it all together. We've been doing a lot of theory, a lot of this, that, and the third, breaking down concepts and stuff like that. Now they're literally saying, okay, this is why. This is the value add, okay? So now they're bringing it all together. And here you begin to see, so what is the impact that we get from knowledge management? It's going to impact our people. How so? They're going to learn more, right? And through learning, they'll be adaptable, okay, to new trends and things of that nature, all right? And then there'll be more job satisfaction because people are growing, they're developing themselves, okay? And they're also able to deliver on the job, okay? So you can see knowledge management impacts your people. But it doesn't end there. By impacting people, you're also going to be impacting processes, because who carry out these processes? It's people, right? Although we might use systems and all that type of stuff, but it's people, all right? These processes are going to be more effective, efficient, all right? And because the people who engage in these processes have more knowledge, they're going to be more innovative. So they might switch up the processes, right? Employ better processes, all right? So that's how innovation is being impacted on your processes, okay? Then you've got products. Obviously, with more knowledge, right? For instance, if we've collected our complaints from customers, right? Realize that actually, if we tweaked our product like this, and like that, we would be adding more value to the customer, all right? Or we could potentially tap into a new market altogether, all right? Value added products, all right? You can't add value without knowing what it is that she actually wants. She says, yes, it would be great for you to upload our lessons to the YouTube channel. That's me adding value. Does that make sense? She says, sir, if he was to say, sir, if we could actually have a look at the assignment and engage on how you would like us to actually go about it. What should be the approach? What is it you want to see? All right. That again is now adding value. Okay. Over and above your lectures, we're now saying, okay, what more would be appreciated by the client? Okay. Then knowledge-based products. I think we've somewhat spoken to that as well. And then we have organizational performance, all right, which can be direct and indirect, okay? Somebody tell me what you think we mean when we say performance can be direct and indirect. Yes, she's opened the textbook. She's looking at the pages. Gonna get our reference now. Anybody?
I think it's referring to
Hmm.
the employees themselves, as in the direct company that they're doing the task being able to go more efficiently. And indirect can mean that like the person at the management,
Yeah.
whoever is in charge, can be able to assign tasks and
Delegate.
them.
Okay. Okay.
And so that indirectly increases
Mm-hmm.
performance.
I see. 100%. So directly we're saying, okay, for instance, you know that, okay, us, instead of using, what you call this, your HDMI cables, right, which get broken every now and again. You guys probably don't remember this, but yeah, we used to use HDMI cables, okay? And as I just mentioned, eventually they get broken inside those cables. And as a result, you get to a venue, you're ready to lecture, your students are here, but guess what? We cannot do our thing because the projector won't display, right? Then some wise guy decided that actually, you know what? It would be easier for us to just use Bluetooth, because Bluetooth, we don't need to keep replacing cables, okay? And at the same time, most of the devices have Bluetooth, okay? And now we have no challenges whatsoever in terms of connecting. Well, maybe you might get some technical issues every now and again, but it's allowed us to be a whole lot more efficient, all right? Which has obviously helped our performance, because some lectures you lose 10 minutes. It throws out your whole lecture because you are unable to cover the fundamental stuff that you needed to do in order to complete whatever follows next. Okay, so it really now says, okay, now how do we restructure our lecture? So that obviously impacts performance. So that would be something that's more direct, you could say. But something that's more indirect, I would speak to things like processes. Okay, another example could be your product. All right, if we improve a product, obviously that directly is going to affect the performance of the business. Okay, but indirect is processes. It's like it's a byproduct by us spending less time. The example you gave, right? The delegation, time management, for instance. All right, time management. You're not going to directly see how that time management has affected, but by way of more effectively managing our time, uh, we get to do more. We're only going to see the doing of more. Does that make sense? So it's indirect, okay? But typically that's what we're talking about, all right? So this is why I was saying that now we're seeing, okay, this is the fruits of knowledge management, and this is why we need to invest in managing this adequately. So now they just actually show us this stuff graphically, all right? So you've got your knowledge management, which provides knowledge, and then obviously it should impact the organization. Okay, right. What we just have gone through, knowledge management obviously impacts your people, processes, products, and then obviously organizational performance. And you can see how these, it's not a hard and fast thing where it only affects these, interchangingly affect the other aspects, so to speak. People affects products, all right? People would also affect processes. Processes would also affect organizational performance. Okay. But all of these things are happening as a result of knowledge management. All right. And this is why they always say you should always be learning. Okay. Because if you're learning, you can always add value. It's not learning academically, just before I, get one of you jumping out the window because you think this is not going to be the end. I'm going to be studying forever in life. No, it's just about saying, what skills can I acquire? Now we have this beautiful thing called Udemy. Some people have learned how to program just off of doing stuff, short courses off of Udemy, right? Some people have learned how to do digital marketing, social media marketing, all right? Build brands just off of just off of Udemy. There's another one, Coursera as well, edX as well. So many platforms, okay? So this is really just reiterating the people aspect, okay? Reiterating the people aspect. Here now, again, they're looking at now processes. Okay, there you can see there's a little more detail when it comes to being more effective. Fewer mistakes are made. Adaptation to change circumstances, okay? Then process efficiency, it goes on and on and on, right? So yeah, again, we're just graphically looking at what we've already discussed, okay? And then there you can see organization, right? Knowledge, we can change the vision, change the strategy, revenues, costs, okay, right? Like I said, we no longer have to keep buying more and more HDMI cables, for instance, in the context of this business, okay? Also, instead of if I give another example within the varsity college space, outsourcing your canteen, right? You can get people who are in the business of obviously providing food, right? Which means that they have economies of scale, they have the skill set. We are an education brand, isn't it? That's our core business. Now, for us to spend time trying to figure out how do we cook an egg or put together a kota or put together what is it? The deadwood? All those things. All right. It might not be as efficient as just outsourcing from a cost perspective. All right. Yeah. So I'm not going to go into that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it for your learning unit 3. Now, yes. I had an exercise for you guys that I wanted us to do because it's all good and well for us to discuss this theoretically. But now what we need to start doing, which we have been doing with the multiple choice questions and all that, is seeing it practically. So this is what I had in mind for you. I'm just going to show you. But I see what too few, I think, in my mind for us to do this. All right, let me just get to it. So here we were. I had 4 businesses. So it's going to put you in groups of 4. And then what we're going to do is you would then now go on ChatGPT, for instance, and you would then say, how would a hospital be impacted? How would knowledge management impact the people or employees in a hospital? What learnings, would they then adapt through knowledge management, or sorry, pick up through knowledge management? All right. How would adaptability be affected through through knowledge management in a hospital? So that we can then begin to see these things, get the illustrations and see these things practically. And then obviously begin to appreciate the value of knowledge management. But we'll save that exercise for another day. I'm sure we will have many uh, concepts to apply that same exercise to.